I was recording in Memphis, it must have been about 68 or 69. I wasn't with the Righteous Brothers at the time, and I'd record during the day with Chips Moman, and one of Elvis's guys would come and get me, and at night and take me to Graceland, and it was just great. So we'd hang out and have dinner and this and that. And one night and this was my one really claim to fame. He said, tonight we're going to go to the movie show. And all the stories you heard that he would rent the theater, well, that was the truth. He'd just rent the theater, so it was just us. Well, him and the boys, the Memphis guys. And so we walk outside to go to the theater, and there's Elvis's limo. So Elvis said, Bill, you get in the back. Actually, he said, man, I just want, and I thought that meant get in the back seat. So I got in the back seat. Elvis and Priscilla got in the front seat, and we're going down the driveway at Graceland, and Elvis is driving. And we go, and we get down to the gate where there was always about 200 screaming people, and the gate opens, and here comes Elvis's limo, and we go through the gate, and not one person looked in the front seat. Everybody looked in the back, and here I am. And I've never seen so many disappointed people in my life. But that was the first time, like really kind of hanging out and spending some great time. And then when I was at the Sands Hotel by myself, and this was before he started in Vegas. And Elvis in those days was really kind of the Howard Hughes of rock and roll. Nobody ever saw him. He wasn't doing shows. He was just hung up doing all those movies. I used to do a thing in my show where I would do a thing about Elvis. I just want to tell you, man, and I never understood a word he was saying, and his boys beat me on it. And so I'm at the Sands Hotel. I'd understand this is like in '68. Vegas was a whole different deal. And Maynard D is about 80 years old. He brings me a note about 10 minutes after I'd done this Elvis thing, and the note says, he's here. I said, well, who's here? I said, because Elvis is never anywhere. I said, I suppose Elvis Presley's here. And from the back of the room, Elvis jumps up and starts singing something. Like, you know I can't be found. And the lights went up, and the place went, without exaggeration, went up. It took me about 20 minutes just to get him back. And so a couple of times he came into Vegas to see me. Then when he opened at the International, I had finished up my run in Vegas at the Sands Hotel, and I ended up over where Elvis was, and I always thought that Elvis probably said, "Listen, I want Medley here," because every time he was here, oddly enough, I was in the lounge. I was there, and I went there. I was there like 2 years, and I had to redo my deal, and they said, "You can be here as long as you want. You can do anything you want." So, and one night. See, because Elvis would go on at 8, I'd go on at 10, Elvis would go on at 12, and I'd go on at 2. And I'm doing my 10 o'clock show, and Elvis was walking, back through the kitchens and the stuff, and he walks past my showroom in the back, and I'm doing Love and Feelin', and he used to do Love and Feelin' in his show, and he stops the guys, and he says, "Hey, Bill's doing my song, man." So they come in the back door, and I'm on stage. And when you're on stage, it's like you're in your living room at night. And if somebody walks in, it's really kind of startling. You know where everybody is, and there's some rustling from the side. And here comes Elvis Presley, and about 4 of his bodyguard, 4 of the Memphis guys. And he just walks by me and hits me on the arm, says, "Hi, Bill," and keeps on going. And I don't know what the bodyguards were. I didn't know if maybe he thought I was going to jump him. on stage. But they walk by, and obviously the crowd just wigs out. Now, and I don't say anything, and he just walks off. And now I'm doing my 2 o'clock show, and in those days, the town was small enough that everybody in town knew that Elvis Presley walked on stage with Bill Medley, because at least in one of his books it said he'd never been on stage with another artist or something like that. And so that there was lines to get in my show, like he's going to do it again. So the show starts, and I'm doing Lovin' For You, and I'm right at the baby, baby, I get down, you know, and here he comes again. Here he comes again, and he walks by, hits me, hi, Bill, and they all now hit me. And now he had like 8 of his Memphis guys and about 10 of the security guys at the hotel, and they all walk by, hi, Bill, and if you know, love me like you, and I'm trying to do the song, and so finally I get done. The place, I mean, people are throwing babies out of windows. I mean, they are literally going nuts, because that's what they were, and didn't think they were going to see it. But and so finally it calms down. I just stood there. It was almost a Jack Benny moment, like one of those. Just waited, and they finally calmed down. I said, okay, I don't know who he is, but now he's starting to piss me off. And Elvis heard I said that, and he called my dresser. He said, Bill, I hope I wasn't messing up. I said, are you kidding me? I said, my next show's at 8 o'clock. Could you be there, please? And he was a really good guy. And the great thing is that, like, when he would be getting ready for his midnight show, and I would be sitting in my dressing room, he would call a lot of times and say, Bill, come down to the dressing room. And I would go down, and it would be just Elvis and his hairdresser. And he would send all the boys up to get in their positions. And so I would, you know, Elvis and I would sit there, I don't know, probably 40, 50 times, just him and I. So I really got to know Elvis, not, you know, the Elvis Presley. We really had some great one-on-one time, and we were both huge fans of Roy Orbison. I mean, well, yeah, Roy Orbison, but Roy Hamilton. And his favorite song was Unchained Melody by Roy Hamilton, not the Righteous Brothers. So I really got to know him really, really well, and very comfortable about, you know, just a couple of guys sitting and talking. And one night, this is one of the strangest things that's ever happened to me, is that he says, come on upstage, you know, upstage and watch me go on. I said, okay. So I went, and we're backstage in the wings, and that band starts that 2000 thing. Boom, and oh, now and the women are screaming, and I'm going, geez, you know, the emotion and it just got like, it was nuts, and they were starting to, you know, fix him up a little bit, make sure it's in, and so I backed away a little bit, about 10 feet, and they're getting him ready, and he, you know, he's, you know, looking over me and, you know, saying, you're all right, and boy, and the kid, and it was the first time I saw him from about 12 feet away in the shadows with that band playing that 2000 and the girl screaming. I said, holy criminy, that's Elvis Presley. You know, I got so comfortable with him that I got so excited I almost went on.